The French elections, always a nail-biter. But the most recent one, let me tell you folks, the fate of the free world was hanging by a thread. Okay, that might be a tad dramatic, but it was a close one. On one side, you had Marine Le Pen. She's been circling the French presidency for years, and let's just say her views? Not exactly known for tolerance and inclusivity. On the other side, a coalition of left-leaning parties, all with their own ideas and priorities, but united by one goal, stopping Le Pen. Now, getting these groups to agree on anything is like herding cats, each one with its own agenda and scratching post. But somehow, they pulled it off. This wasn't just a win for the French left, it was a win for everyone who believes in a more open, more tolerant world. So how did they do it? Let's break it down. Marine Le Pen, daughter of Jean-Marie Le Pen, the original bad boy of French politics. She tried to soften her image, but underneath, same hardline views on immigration, same nationalism, same old, same old. Her strategy? Tap into the anxieties of everyday French people. Worried about jobs, blame immigrants, concerned about security. Le Pen had an answer for that too. Hint, it usually involved blaming someone who didn't look like her. She was a master at playing on people's fears. And it worked. For a while it looked like she might actually pull it off. Polls were neck and neck and the left was scrambling. They needed a miracle, or at least a plan. The French left is like a sampler platter of political ideologies. You got your socialists, your greens, your communists, yes, they still exist. Each with their own recipe for how to run a country. Getting them to agree on anything is like trying to get cats to play poker. But Le Pen was a common enemy, and desperate times call for desperate measures. The socialists, led by the ever so slightly smug but undeniably charming Emmanuel Macron, knew they couldn't do it alone. They needed to build a coalition, and fast. So they did what any self-respecting politician would do. They made deals, lots of deals. The Greens wanted more environmental protections? Done. The Communists wanted stronger worker protections? You got it. It wasn't pretty, but it was effective. Section 4. Bread and butter, not fear. Winning the economic argument. Le Pen's strategy of fear-mongering might have worked in the past, but this time, the left was ready. They knew they couldn't win on immigration alone. They needed to offer voters something concrete, something tangible, something that spoke to their everyday lives. Their solution? Focus on the economy. They talked about jobs, about wages, about the rising cost of living. They promised to invest in education and healthcare. They presented themselves as the party of the working class, the party that understood the struggles of everyday people. It was a risky strategy. After all, the economy was complex, and there were no easy answers, but it was a gamble that paid off. Section 5, Immigration, finding common ground. Let's not kid ourselves. Immigration was a major issue in this election. Le Pen had built her entire campaign on it. But here's the thing, the left wasn't afraid to talk about it. They knew that ignoring it would only play into Le Pen's hands. But instead of resorting to fear and division, they offered a different vision. They talked about the need for compassion and understanding. They highlighted the contributions that immigrants had made to French society. They presented a nuanced and pragmatic approach, one that acknowledged the challenges of immigration while also recognizing its benefits. Section 6. The people have spoken. A victory, but not without challenges. The election wasn't even close. The French people had spoken, and they had chosen hope over fear, unity over division. It was a victory not just for the French left, but for democracy itself. But let's not get ahead of ourselves. The fight is far from over. The forces of nationalism and xenophobia are still out there. And the challenges facing France and the world are immense. But for now, let us savor this moment. Let us celebrate the power of unity, the importance of hope, and the enduring strength of democracy. Because in the end, that's what this election was all about.